Hello, everybody. Very excited here to be with my dear friend David Amerland, who is who is an author of a new upcoming book. And today I thought we would talk a little bit. David, hello, first of all, before we get going.
Oh my God, I'm authored to be here. No, sorry, honored to be here.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So today we're going to get really serious. We're going to talk about the new book, and what I was thinking we should do is we will talk about the new book in detail later. But right now, I thought I'd give some few thoughts that kind of put it together about where I think you're coming from this book. I want everybody to have a clear understanding, though, that I have not read the book yet. So this is strictly my own 2 cents on where I think David got the idea for the book and everything else, just based on the book's title. So I put together a couple of slides here so I can show my thoughts a little bit in a little clearer. And so the I'm calling this thing Inside the Sniping Mind. And so David and I are going to cover this in more detail. So if you think about the word sniping and what it means, I can't even go to the next slide. Here we go. The definition. And the definition is right there. So it comes, sniping is from the word snipe. And the word snipe, according to Google here, it says is to shoot at someone from a hiding place, especially accurately at a long range. Like, for example, soldiers in the trench sniped at us. Or, which is the first main definition, which I think is how the whole thing started, was make a sly or petty verbal attack. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. Sniping is making a sly or petty verbal attack. This is something that normally people don't see much, especially if you read the press. You just, if you look at the election and everything else, it's just like nobody understands what sniping means, even though you can see it's a word in English dictionary. And I wish they would use it more in our election. Unfortunately, they didn't, but maybe next time. So moving on here, here's the broader definition of sniping, which is to attack a person or person's work with petulant or snide criticism, especially anonymously or from a safe distance. I know it's a mouthful, so I'm going to leave it on the screen for a little bit. And first, while you're reading this, I'm going to ask David if he agrees with this definition of sniping.
Yeah,
David?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay. So David agrees that this is, so that's what I'm thinking he got the idea for the book, is looking at all these people sniping each other, like in the last election, for example, where it was happening constantly, all the time. This side would snipe the other side, and the other side would snipe this side. And so it was really enlightening to see how people are redefining what sniping means. And I think that's one of the main reasons David decided to write the book with this in mind, is because this was happening so much. Wait a minute, did they say before nobody used sniping? And now I'm saying they all did. Okay, so I'm kind of going back and forth, but you get the idea. It's like I'm evolving. I'm evolving from non-sniping to sniping. Um, and so here's a couple of nice slides for you so you can kind of keep it in focus, keep calm and keep sniping. One of the important thing about sniping is you need to keep calm. So when you snipe at other people, if you get really nervous and everything, you potentially could have, heart attack, stroke. I mean, there's all kinds of problems. So the idea is when you snipe people, you need to be calm. And I think this is an important fact about health and fitness when it comes to sniping, and of course, David is also an expert in fitness. So David, what's your take on fitness part of it, dealing with sniping?
Well, you sort of need to be as fit as possible in order to snipe. There's a connection there somewhere. We need to sort of discuss that a little bit in depth.
Okay, if that's the case, then I will challenge you a little bit here,
Okay.
because obviously I'm not as fit as I should be, and yet I'm able to snipe people all day long, as we've seen many times before. So how do you explain that kind of situation?
I think it comes down to energy sources, like most things, because they sort of tend to power all kind of animation processes. So if you have sufficient supplies of sugar at hand, you might be able to overcome it in the short term.
True. Okay, so sniping, excellent. So we need sugar. Sugar is a big thing for sniping, and this is again my thinking about why David was using this as the main thought behind his book. You can see that in every single Sunday read that he publishes, there's always sugar at the end. Every single one. There's all kinds of topics, all kinds of thoughts, all kinds of discussions taking place, everything, every Sunday. But one thing that's constant is there's always talk about coffee and sugary sweets. Right, right, David?
That is correct. Yes.
Exactly. So David is
so
actually.
on a Sunday. You need Sundays.
Did I just snipe you by interrupting you, David?
You did, yeah.
I did. Okay, moving on. All right, so what else do we have? In addition to that, here is, speaking of sniping, there is one of the great characters of the past who used to snipe like nobody, and that was Mr. Gleason, also known as the Hustler. And many of you probably were not even born when he was doing the show, but he was like one of the best people to do the sniping. And sniping also has to do with the way you attack people, has to do with being snide. So it's kind of, you can see that the two words are almost, so you get snipe and snide. It's just a single letter difference between the two words. And here's the definition of what snide means. When you were sniping somebody, you need to be snide about it. And so snide means derogatory or mocking in an indirect way, and or counterfeit and inferior, and that's a British version. David, did you realize that sniping involves something to do with, there's a different British definition with the word snide, which is
I did. It's all there by design, you know. I thought we're all way too nice on the internet to each other, so it's time to bring in a little bit of edge.
And the noun here, it says it's an unpleasant or underhanded person or remark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, amazing, right?
Well, it's the depth and the richness of English language is never ceases to amaze me. Because look at this one word, one 5-letter word, snide, and look at this, derogatory or mocking in direct way. You got British version, you got unpleasant or underhanded person or remark. I mean, there is so many things you can do with sniping and sniding. So I want to bring an example from the old country, if you don't mind. And so there was a interesting anecdote. They call it anecdote. I think it's a true story, actually. So usually in many countries, including Russia, people are kind of have a lot of sentiments against their mother-in-laws. There is all kinds of jokes, all kinds of stories, everything else. So this particular one I remember from the old country is when a guy is standing on the 7th floor balcony and he's holding his mother-in-law over the rail, over the balcony, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got the picture there? He's holding over the
balcony. I have it, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And he's saying, look, Ivan stabbed his mother-in-law, and what's another Russian name? And Vadim,
Sergey, I was gonna say, but
Sergey. Okay, Sergey shot his mother-in-law, but I'm just gonna let you go. Ta-da! Okay, so you can see right there was a clear example of a story with sniping built in, and so I think the origins of sniping came from all these angst against mother-in-laws. I think it actually goes back to the time of Vikings. And this is when they kind of started. The only problem was that sniping with mother-in-laws had a certain, it's people wanted to get back at them, but they didn't want to necessarily kill them. So this, Russian joke obviously is a lethal method, but, a lot of people don't want to go that far. And so I think there was a need to go with two different variations. And I think this is where sniping and sniper became two different words. This is where they segregated, because people didn't really want to kill their mother-in-laws. They just want to kind of hurt them temporarily. And by the way, this has nothing to do with my mother-in-law. I just want to make sure it's for the record there. Even though right now I'm not talking to her, it still has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. So that's where they came up with this deal where the person who was sniping, they decided to call him sniper. So the word snipe from sniping became sniper. I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. And in addition to that, then we also have, with the snipe, we also have snap, which is also a cousin. And if you look at an example here on Google, Google Chrome, whenever you really get mad at the thing because it's not doing what you want it to do, a lot of times it's because of this. And see, this is what Google actually shows on the screen. And they're using the word snap, and they're using the picture, as you can see a little icon there, and it says Google Chrome ran out of memory while trying to display this web page. So you get this nice explanation. Doesn't make you feel any better, but this is where you get into all these, negative terms. British versions, American versions, doesn't matter. As long as you're sniping the computer, you're doing a good job. And this is where you're wind up. I mean, the snap comes into play because, I mean, one of the things that happens, for example, with me is the way I react. My sister actually called me a snapper. It's a true story. My sister called me snapper. And you can see right there, this is not my sister, like it says right there. It's not my sister. And the fish is the snapper, but it's just because of the same name. But I'm just trying to be visual, going with the concept of 20, SEO help, 20 steps. We talked about images, images worth 1,000 words. So I'm trying to kind of show a little bit of, number one, you can tell by the accent, I'm originally from the Soviet Union, so they used color red. So you have the red fish, you have the red text. So I have these,
there's a lot of layers to this, right?
A lot of layers, but it's all about sniping. It's all about snapping and snapping. And it's true story. My sister called me a snapper, and so I'm kind of glad to be part of this deal. I kind of feel closer to David Amerland because she called me snapper because of the way I react to things, and at the same time he wrote a book about sniping and about snipers, and so to me it kind of makes me feel closer to David because of this.
I think I've missed out the snappers in the book. There should be a section on fish.
Right.
I mean, that's an oversight on my part, right?
Well, you can always add an online addendum later on. So
yes.
This is kind of what snipers look like. I decided to put a little collage here of sniping stuff, and the guy, and of course snipers shoot from a long distance. So that's one of the cool things about snipers is that they have this little deal. They call it a target, and they look from a distance with all these little blue and red. I don't know what those things. Is that like a binocular, David? You're the expert on sniping here. So what's?
Yeah, that's actually a very high-tech 21st century rangefinder with little laser sights and distance findings, and it also allows you within a certain parameters to gauge the atmospherics around you because they also impact upon the trajectory from the gun to the target. So it makes them a little bit more accurate.
Yeah. So back to sugary snacks and getting sniping in place.
Yes, yeah.
Nice, interesting thing about this guy, you can see that one of the interesting things about these guns and about the snipers is that a lot of people take a little. In Russia they call them theatrical binoculars. I don't know. Do they have some term like this in English? They have this little.
Oh,
the glasses, the binoculars you take to the theater, a little small.
I know the ones. They're called theater glasses. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same word. Theater glasses, okay? That's what they used to call it in Russia, too. The cool thing about this to understand is that right now, with this new sniping technology that we're looking at right there, David was just describing scientifically, this is what people these days in 21st century, like you said, that's what people take to the theater to get a closer view. You don't need to carry this silly looking little theater glass. You actually bring in a rifle, you got the full set, and you start looking throughout the theater to see, if you like the performance, awesome, because you can see it up close. I mean, it's even better than theater glasses. If you don't like the performance, you just pull the trigger and, that's it.
You don't have to worry. Yeah, absolutely. You vote in a very direct way. Okay.
It's brilliant. And see right there's on that little patch on the left bottom, it says out of sight, out of mind. That's what sniper is. You're way out there, so you can't see it, nobody can see you, and at the same time out of mind, meaning, what does that mean? It means that if you kill the performer because he was doing a lousy job on stage, it's okay because it's out of mind. You don't have to worry about it. Again, going back to our keep calm thing, if you're not keeping calm while you're doing the sniping, you might have a aneurysm or something. So you don't want to be doing that. And this health tip is part of our discussion today.
So absolutely, yes.
Okay, a little cough there, David. Take it easy. Take it easy. Keep calm. Uh, so, sniping mind. What's in it? I mean, this is the what we're trying to get to the mind point, and I have this phenomenal graphic there on the left that really shows a lot of detail of all kinds of things going on. And so, David, since you're the author of the book, maybe you can explain to us what is going on inside a sniping mind.
Well, let me take a few deep breaths so I can calm myself down a little bit. Okay, well, it's well, essentially, if you're not engaged with your mind, you just can't snipe. You have to be in it.
I
Either
see.
way.
Okay, so in other words, mind, you can't just snipe at people without any kind of brain activity. You always have to have brain activity to snipe.
Yeah, I mean, they tested that because, there was a scientific study done quite a number of times, and they used a number of cadavers, and they gave them all sorts of equipment under different conditions, and not one of them actually showed any kind of activity. It was remarkable. And from that, they extrapolated that, if we haven't got any kind of signs of kind of life activity or brain activity, we're just incapable of engaging, which is, I think, if you take it back to what you said earlier, it makes Twitter a kind of exceptional environment.
I'm sorry, I'm not really. It sounds like I'm really laughing, guys, but I'm really not. It's almost like it just kind of all this emotion came to me, and I'm thinking about the brain and all these cadavers that I was talking about. And I know it sounds like I'm laughing, but I really am not. It's actually kind of tragic when you think about it, but it also makes sense. You cannot have any kind of activity being done without brain being
That's right. Yeah,
involved
yeah.
in
I
it.
mean, this is a serious
So
matter.
so
People,
they
please
actually
pay
did some tests.
attention.
You can see this. Actually, this is one of the tests that they did. You can see where they took a person in the video game. See this picture on the right side? It's a person from the video game, and they actually set it there, and they were waiting for. I think they were waiting for. I thought it was like 2.5 weeks to see if the person will shoot. Of course, obviously, it's a video game character, which means there is no brain. And the person, considering how much violence there is in video games, this particular picture shows that the person has not shot a single shot at all. It was just exactly as you see it. For 2.5 weeks, they were waiting for them to shoot. They wouldn't shoot. So that was kind
Yeah,
of the
that's another
proof.
remarkable study. Yeah, absolutely. A lot was learned from
But
that.
it proves your point about the fact that
Yeah.
without the brain activity, you're not sniping anything or anyone. Excellent. Thank you, David. This now it makes perfect sense. And they have snipers that are men, they have snipers that are women. uh, People snipe from tall mountains, from trees, from all over the place.
Mm.
And oh, this is what you're supposed to talk about, the sniping mind. I don't know, for some
That's
reason I
right. Yeah,
got two
yeah.
slides. i
Yeah,
think i
I mean,
think I just like these legs. It just, for some reason, these legs look kind of nice thing to show, and then these beautiful vistas and stuff. So I thought you would be talking. So do you have anything else, David, you want to add here, since we're,
oh yeah, I mean,
I'm just
environment
sitting
is
here.
really important, but it's also kind of, if it's too sometimes disconnected from the individual, then the environment doesn't matter at all. And again, it was that cadaver study. They dropped them all over the place,
Yeah,
and
by
to
the way,
see
this
if
is not one of these cadavers, because you can
no,
see
it's
that.
not. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Although
This person,
this, she is disconnected because there's no top part of the body there in the picture. So
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
two legs.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because there was the other kind of sort of tangent they went on, whether if you sort of dismember a person, would they actually be able to take part in other different activities in given the right environment? And they didn't pursue it any further because they ran out of funds when they actually did the study.
Right. And that's because well, they just ran out of funds, like everybody does. So like we said, I wanted
Yeah,
to
it's a sad
I
truth.
wanted to I wanted to touch a little bit on the men and woman aspect of sniping. So there is
Mm,
a picture of clearly a I want to say Russian here, but
mm.
looking at
I
her
think it's,
boots, they don't really look Russian. Although she does
I
have
think there's
this
yeah, I think there's a mix
star.
of things there. Yeah, I mean, but
She does
it's
have the Russian
certainly.
star. Anyway, that's actually, this rifle looks like, I don't think it would fire very well, so it must be a Russian rifle. So, David, what can you say about guys? And there's a guy who looks like could be a sniper at the top there,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's a woman that could be, so supposedly should be a sniper, but
Mm,
again, the Russian deal just kind of kills the concept. What can you
mm.
say about men and women in sniping and
Well,
snipers?
I think the sort of sniping is sort of gender neutral kind of activity, but I think the most powerful message you'll take from all the visuals you have here is the association game, where you say, there's a man, there's a woman, and it really doesn't matter where they come from. They could possibly both be snipers, and I think we can basically all agree that bridges cannot snipe.
No, but you can snipe from a bridge. That's the idea. So bridges
That's
cannot
the
snipe, but
association.
we
Okay,
can
that's
definitely.
that's the environment thing.
That's what you call
Well,
prop, right?
we'll go with that. Yes, we'll go with that.
And also, she seems a little underdressed for the job here. I just noticed all of a sudden that, man, she shouldn't be dressed like that. That's not going to be good for sniping. And then also, what is that thing hanging
I
there? It
think
looks like
you're just being sexist here. They can dress any way they
no.
like.
But no, hold on. There's hanging. Is that like a cup of some sort next to the rifle there?
Yeah, there is sort of some sort of kind of
Is that part of a sniping deal that you have to bring a cup so you can drink or something, or what? Or is it just a
um,
Russian baloney? Must be a Russian
well,
deal.
suppose you want to take a break and have a bit of a picnic. You need to have all the right stuff.
What's the deal with green boots? Do you think? You think Russian would wear red boots, right? Why do you think
Environmentally
she wears
friendly.
green boots? Ah,
I think
it's the new.
yeah,
These are the new
yeah.
Russians. I see. I see.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and then at the very top of the barrel there, at the end of the barrel,
Uh-huh.
whatever you call this thing, why it's got this little? It looks like a flute almost. What's the deal with that thing?
Oh, actually, I'm very glad you asked that. That's actually it's a muzzle flash suppressor, and it's supposed to. Well, what it does essentially is you can see it's got holes on the side, and this is quite technical. So, what happens is that instead of having the nozzle flash going forward and becomes very visual, and the enemy sees it, etc., and gives away your position, the gases escape to the side.
Yeah.
So as you looked on, they're not really seen.
If she dresses like this, they definitely will see her.
Yeah,
There's no
well,
avoiding that. Okay, moving on. Moving on. So basically, let's talk a little bit about the process. And so, like I said, the sniping, we already covered the definitions, everything else. So the sniper looks like you see right there at the target of whoever they're gonna try to see or attack. I mean, imagine this is in a theater. I mean, it's showing a little piece of land, but you can imagine it's a person in the theater looking to see how the performance is going. So I think going back to my original discussion was the fact that this is, I think, how those are the different elements you used to get inspiration to write the book. And so you kind of look through all of that, almost like looking through the scope there, and then you just press the trigger and the book came to mind. Do you think is it close enough to what really transpired, or somewhat close?
oh my god, thing is so spot on. It's uncanny.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. So the new book. Let's actually now talk. Now that we covered all the previous terms, go to the actual book, which is called The Sniper Mind, and it says eliminate fear, deal with uncertainty, and make better decisions. And obviously, you can
Yeah.
see the book is by David Amerland. If it wasn't, his name wouldn't be on there. So we know it's your book, David. So can you go in a little more detail about what this statement means? Eliminate fear, deal with uncertainty, and make better decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, there's a thing to it, right? Because every time we make any kind of executive process in our heads, there's a lot of layers which come into it. There's our identity, the context, the situation, the environment, our sense of our abilities, our sense of our expected outcomes. And they all play a role. It's almost like a pretty sort of complex sandwich, if you like, which comes together.
Yeah.
And it's sort of bookended by the situation we're in and the kind of skill set we actually bring to bear. And there are means and ways of actually doing almost anything. And what comes out of actual studies now is that if you're not trained, if you don't have a way of marshaling the resources of your mind, if you can't actually focus the way you should in terms of the psychological and energy you need to bring to this, and the focus of your mental abilities, what's going to happen is the natural processes of your brain, all those little subroutines which have evolved over tens of thousands of years, and they were meant to save you in particular situations. In the complexities which we face today, in the executive decision making which we make in a very modern setting, they're more likely to tripwire you than actually help you. And you're going to basically engage in processes which are lossy, in a sense that they're going to take energy and attention and time away from what you actually have to do, and they're more likely to make you fail rather than succeed. So there are ways to succeed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just drift off
Are
a
you
little bit?
okay?
I'm sorry. I'm
You did
sorry.
fall asleep just
I
then,
just,
didn't you?
yeah, I drifted off a little. I drifted off there. I'm sorry, David. My apologies. Okay, so I didn't quite catch everything you said, but for the sake of not being redundant, I'm not going to ask you to repeat it and put you on
Okay.
the spot like that.
Fair enough.
But
Yeah.
I did want to make a comment now that I'm awake again. I did want to make a comment about the fact that this book is not for snipers, okay? Because if this book was for sniper, why would I be a sniper and want to read a book about my mind? I know what my mind is like. I don't need to read it. So that makes, just logical thinking here, because I'm a computer guy. I think logically speaking, this book would be for people who are being shot, or what I call snipees. I don't know if is there a term snipee or not?
Well, there should be a thing because
Okay, in that case, I just invented the term. It's snipee if it's
yes.
not there. Okay, so this is a book for snipees, and the reason I say that, like I said, because sniper already knows their mind, but it's snipees who need to get the information, and they would want to buy this book. And if you look at it from a snipees
It's a
direct,
kind of
I
small
mean,
market, right? Because I mean, if you look at the survival rates,
they keep constantly shrinking, exactly.
yes.
But at the same time, it says eliminate fear. So this is for people who get shot. Eliminate fear, deal with uncertainty. They don't know exactly where they're going to be shot. They may be shot between the eyes, they may be shot in the ear, they may be shot in the body, they may be shot in the stomach, they may be shot below stomach. This is a
That's very
family show,
graphic.
so we're not going to cover that. They may be shot, in the knee. You may be shot in the calf. I mean, there's so many places. So that's the uncertainty. So basically, the book will describe how to eliminate fear, because if somebody's shooting you, most of the time you're going to be in fear. There's no question there. So this book will help you eliminate fear, and then you deal with uncertainty, because, like I said, you don't know where the shot is going to be happening. And then it says, and make. And so before you completely collapse, totally just scared to death, it says make better decisions, meaning you can actually make some decisions at that point. Like you can, think about whether you took care of your, will and things like that, so your money doesn't go to probate or something like that. We're going to have another show with David about probate for people who get shot. That's a separate show. And then you've got, so I think this is what David intended. I could be wrong. David, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a book for snipees.
Yes. Now you're very perceptive on this.
And I think to make sure that David at least sells few of these books, I also want to say that even if you're a snipee, if you get the book, then by reading what Sniper's Mind is all about, you might want to become a sniper so you don't get killed. I mean, so this is an example there. So both snipees.
So this should be
former
a potential snipe piece, really, because we need to expand the
Exactly.
market a little bit.
Exactly. And okay, so David, tell us please when this book is coming out.
Well, guys, it's incredible. November this year, it's going to happen big time, and it's going to come out. We're going to get to find out lots and lots of things about it, right, Oleg?
Absolutely. So the book is coming out. Oop, it's disappeared. They just said when, and it disappeared. Okay, hopefully it'll come back. Anyway, it says, see invisible things. So that's why it disappeared, because it was invisible. But anyway, here it comes back again. Here we go. So it says the book is coming out in the fall. You said November, David?
I did, yes.
Okay, so it's a little bit later than the fall. And that's because, I don't know details like David does. So sorry about that. You can go to the website called the snipermind.com, okay, for details. And then, of course, you'll be able to buy it once the book is out. So don't be trying to shoot me because they said to go buy it, and you go there and you keep clicking on buy, and nothing is coming in the mail. You got to wait until the book actually comes out. So I just want to make sure the disclaimer is in place there. And
Good, good call.
what's the thing on the bottom there? It says otherwise. Oh yeah. 1,000-foot shot that nobody, speaking of seeing invisible things, nobody will see coming, and poof, just like that, you can finish the sentence yourself. The bottom line is
Yes.
you need to buy this book. Okay, you have
Yes.
to buy
Let's stress the fact that no one's safe and everybody should buy it.
right. And so if you really feel like you really want to go out there and buy it right now, I mean, you really have this strong connection that you really, really, after listening to all this, you have to get David's book. David has 9 other books you can buy. So go to davidamerlin.com, not the snipermind.com, davidamerlin.com. Okay, 2 different websites for those who are kind of new to the whole web thing. And then you go, and then you got all the other books. So you can actually pace yourself. If you go right now we got what, March? Are we in March?
We are still in March, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Maybe it's not quite the March date we're
it's-
thinking of.
No. We're talking about it's already April. Today is April 1st. That's right. So we're in
Yes, yes.
April. We're in April.
This is important. The date is important, people. Keep it in mind.
Exactly. April. So I got May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So we're talking about 7 months. That means you can buy a couple of books now immediately, and then just buy 1 book a month, which will kind of keep you going, kind of like withdrawals from drugs. It takes a while to get out of feeling good again. So it's the same kind of thing. You still have to kind of
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we developed a very novel way of dealing with things called the 11-step process kind of thing, where you actually do buy the same book once a month.
the same book or
For
different
about well, you can actually, I mean, it just depends. You can buy the same book or different books, but as long as they buy the same author.
right. No, absolutely. No, that goes without saying. So as long as you buy from davidamerlin.com, then you don't have to worry about it. See, some of the things today I kind of got a little bit confused. Like the date here, it says fall of 2017. I'm not trying to get you all excited and then get you disappointed. It's just I got grazed one time somewhere next to my ear by a sniper. And so the mind is not
You were
quite working.
lucky. You were the lucky one.
I was a snipee. That's why I'm so looking forward to this book. It's because I'm snipee.
Exactly,
I was a
yes.
victim of the deal and stuff. So basically, that's it. And with that, I think we covered sufficiently. The only thing I was gonna say that David was gonna go and talk about the details of the book itself, but unfortunately, we don't have time in this particular session, so we're gonna have to postpone it to the next time we meet. And just wanted to run this by you. I want to thank David, obviously, for participating today, and all of you for watching this. I mean, it's certainly an important event to watch, and wait for the book and everything else. Feel free to spread this. The more you spread this, the less chances of you getting shot somewhere, because you're going to be on your computer instead of somewhere outside with clear visibility from nearby mountain or something like that. And
Or a bridge.
or a bridge, exactly. And disclaimer there, I know it's hard to read the disclaimer, so I'll just read it for you. It says, no mother-in-laws were hurt in this presentation, nor do we advocate using snipers for such endeavors. The points of use stated are our own, legally protected under the First Amendment. So there.
Yes,
So
exactly.
just remember that. Okay. David, it's always a pleasure. You know that.
Oleg, thank you so much. And we're not hashtags, right?
And we're hashtags, exactly. And the reason is because we want people to use both of our names as hashtags, especially your name. I guess my name they don't have to use because it's too long to type and stuff, but your name is easy enough to type. I just thought I would try to get a little bit closer to you, feel a little bit closer by putting my face in there too. Notice that my nose is completely concealed, so that's because I don't know, something to do with something which I don't remember anymore because of these grades and stuff. So one of those deals. But David, pleasure. If you want to say a couple, final words to all the listeners for coming in today and being with us, please.
Yeah, we went pretty deep today, but we'll actually revisit the subject, right?
Exactly. That's it?
That is it. Yeah, today, it's a special date. Remember
Okay.
that.
Right. No, definitely a special date. And we're getting closer and closer to November the more we speak here, but unfortunately we have to cut it off here. And stay tuned for the hangout reviewing David's book. And other than that, go buy his other books. Thank you. Bye.